Hello, and thank you again for tuning in. This is the third video in my series. You've been indicted and facing prison. Now what? And it's a continuation of a four-part topic outline. My name is Mark Blatstein. I'm the physician who founded Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. In 2006, I was found and pled guilty to a felony and lost my medical license. 2010, my license was reinstated, but to call this entire thing a surreal experience that all of you are going through is an understatement. It really was a mess. My goal in this series is to provide you with the crucial information you'll need to survive and navigate these times. You'll get a new topic every day so that you can incrementally move forward with knowledge and preparation. And with that, it'll increase your confidence that you'll need to put together and work towards your best outcome. Since you're already aware that the Department of Justice and the feds have been asking questions, chances are their case is mostly complete. And with a 98% conviction rate, the odds are that you will get small amount of time in prison, a larger amount of time in prison, but prison will be in the equation. Knowledge is power, and now that you have it in your hands, delaying to take the next step is at your peril. The consequences will be severe. And equally as important, the next step includes hiring a legal defense team that just doesn't have experience, but has a proven track record of successfully defending cases like yours. Your future's at stake, and it's crucial to make the correct choices now. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call or consider engaging my services at 240-888-7778, as this is your life and future. Continuing with topics, character reference letters. These are reference letters from people that have known you a long time, and it's regarding your character, good deeds you've done, how you've helped others. Why some that have known you a long time feel that this is totally out of character for who you are as a person. Next is your release reentry plan that has many stages and it grows over time. Granted that it seems a little premature at this phase, but you want to at least have a beginning to this release plan and know what it is before you get to your pre-sentence interview, because the chances are good that once you're at the sentencing hearing, the judge is going to ask you if you don't have the ability to have an allocution with them and you haven't written your narrative, which is not a good thing for you, the judge is going to want to know or let you know that he doesn't want to see you back in their courtroom again. So what can you say to convince them of that? And all that is done through a release or reentry plan, medical and mental health care. If you have a medical or healthcare condition that has you seeing the physicians routinely or periodically, you've had surgeries, you need to have copies of everything, all surgery reports, all operative reports, all blood labs. If you've had diagnostic tests, x-rays, bone scans, MRI scans, CT scans, you should have them all on, in addition to their reports, on a CD or flash drive. Because getting healthcare in prison is not great, but at least you can enter with a baseline and it should be included in your pre-sentence report or provided to your probation officer before you get to your interview. Medications and medical devices, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that the medical devices you have are going to be allowed and that your medications are provided on the BOP. They have a formulary list, but the formulary list has two parts. One part, those medications, all generic, you'll be able to get. The medications, though, if your medication is on their non-formulary list, you're not going to get it. And so you need documentation from your physician that words your treatment plan in a certain manner so that you're not going to waste time as a guinea pig, if you will, having the medical personnel at the prison try all kinds of different medications than you're used to getting. Now with the First Step Act that was enacted in 2018, this really was a changing part in how individuals in prison can work towards getting an earlier release date through the accumulation of what's called earned time credits. Your case manager, after your probation officer, who's the most important person you need to get on your side, will be the judge, and following that is going to be the case manager. And your case manager wants to know that you're doing everything to better yourself and improve yourself through personal development while you're in prison. And so they can do that more easily if you have written your own personality narrative and it's included in your pre-sentence report. If you're already at this point and don't have the time to wait for my future videos, give me a call and we can discuss your situation one-on-one. I personally answer and return all calls. My phone number is 240-888-7778. Security levels are based on restriction of movement, federal prison camps versus satellite camps. At camp, they're both minimum. Sometimes satellite camps may have more programming available, but what a federal prison camp can offer that satellites cannot is that they're not attached to a higher security facility, which means that the tension rate among staff and people who are inmates at the camp is just less, as opposed to being a satellite camp attached to a higher security facility where sometimes the guards will rotate from the higher security facility through the camp, but they're all wired to make sure, understanding that at the higher security facility, there could be knife fights. There could be just this higher security makes all the difference. But other than that, they're both minimum camps. You then have federal medical centers, which are all medical. You have to get in there. You need 24/7, 365 nursing. You have penitentiaries, mediums, highs, mediums, low, and a low. You may wind up, even though you're qualified for a camp, but you'll have more program options at a low. Your attorney should understand the nuances of your judge before you go to sentencing. If your attorney is not familiar with this particular court district, then they can speak to a federal defender locally to understand what the judges, what they like and dislike. Or are they worried about, do they think about short staffing at different prisons? Do they like memos, sentencing memorandums that are lengthy? Do they like lots of character letters or not a lot of character reference letters? Would they prefer a short video as opposed to getting a written narrative? The arraignment is when you're charged, and then either you're going to be taken, you will be placed in prison or jail at that time, or they may let you go on your own recognizance or with bail. But if they let you go with bail or on your own personal recognizance, and they give you things that you're allowed and not allowed to do, listen and pay attention, because if you're caught doing things that are not allowed by the court, you could be placed back in prison. Stakeholders are those individuals that are responsible for turning you into a law-abiding citizen. But initially, the stakeholders are going to be the probation officer that does your pre-sentence interview and investigation, your attorney, the prosecutor, the Department of Justice, and the judge, who will eventually have the last word in how long your sentence is, if you're sentenced, and then where you go. Once you get into prison, it's going to be your case manager, and your unit team, which has a tremendous amount of influence over how long you stay, possibly making you able to take advantage of Second Chance Act. But if you're doing all the work and you're taking your First Step Back programming and you're not complaining all the time, you want to turn them into an advocate for you. But initially, these stakeholders, especially in prison, see a lot of people every day, and so you need to stand out in a good way. Halfway house. In order to get into halfway house, a lot of them have a limited amount of bed space. And so if they are evaluating someone who is being prepared to be released from prison, has a good file in prison, has a good release plan in hand from prison, that should help them make a decision towards the person that looks to be benefiting themselves, as opposed to someone that has just gone through prison, has a clean file, but really hasn't put anything into his record regarding his release. Insurance. Well, we're all familiar with life insurance, health insurance, homeowners insurance. Nobody wants to pay it. You're glad it's there, though, when you need it. Insurance for you in prison is documenting or journaling or logging or writing down everything you do every day, to include individual meetings you may have with correction staff, or the correction officers there, or your case managers, and note everything that they ask you to do. If you are taking classes, log that into this journal so that 6 months, 10 months later, they can't say that you didn't go. You'll have a record in chronological order. I'll go into this on another video all by itself at a future point. To engage my services, or you have concerns, call me today at 240-888-7778. Again, as I said, I answer and return all of my calls. I hope you have a good day, and thanks for listening.